Yeah, ma'am.
Thank you.
Yeah, good morning, IOT Academy. It's really a great platform the organizers has been provided for all of us to learn such a things and share new ideas and knowledge, especially in the art of teaching. And this is a national FDP where I have delivered one more lecture previously also. And today I'm going to deliver this problem solving
Sorry,
skills
ma'am. Let me
for
introduction part,
students.
ma'am.
Yeah, I didn't get you.
And good morning, all. On behalf of I welcome you all for the third session of National Level Faculty Development Program. Let me introduce the resources today. Assistant Professor of Shetri Engineering College. The qualifications in Bachelor's degree in Computer Sciences University, Master of Business Administration, and Doctor of Philosophy in Management from Acharya University. She has contributed a lot of research papers UGC recognized international study of operating market in India and management in Indian retail sector. She has contributed on the role of human resource and customer relationship management in the scenario. She has organized many entrepreneurship and faculty development programs. She has also participated in international workshop conferences. With this, I hand over the session to Swati. Ma'am, please.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for my introduction. And shall we start the program, ma'am?
Yes, ma'am. You can start.
Okay, let me share the PPT. I think it is visible.
Yes, ma'am. The sites are visible. Thank you.
Okay. So, first of all, I would like to extend my thanks to the IoT Academy, especially the organizers who have given me a second opportunity to deliver a lecture, an expert talk on problem solving skills for teachers. Yeah, this is a very good initiative where we have been coming across several aspects from the past few weeks, especially for the teachers in higher educational institutions, right? So previously I have delivered these effective communication strategies for teachers, and now today I'm going to discuss about this problem solving skills for teachers. So how these teachers are going to imbibe those skills into the mindset of the students, right? So let us see. So before getting into the topic, I would like to ask you one question. Like, what is the first step in the problem solving process? Being a teacher, which option that we are going to select, like create proposed solutions, help students understand the problem, evaluate proposed solutions, or revise solutions? I just want an answer from you. Let us see how many of us are on the same path and thinking the same answer for the question. Option one or two or three or four. The first step in the problem solving process. What do we expect? Like create proposed solutions, help students understand the problem, evaluate proposed solutions, or revise solutions. Yeah, there were sir, he's been responded option two, quite normal. And let us see how many of us will go with the right one. Understand the problem. Okay, again option two only, right? So the first step in the problem solving process, okay, Prafulla Kumar Patil, he also responded option two. Yes, we are on the same line. That is the right answer, because we help students first of all. No, it's not define the problem. Yeah, okay, defining the problem, and after the thing, we need to make them understand the problem, right? So the first step in the problem solving process is to help students understand the problem, because being a teacher, we need to make them understand the problem so that they can analyze and evaluate the alternatives, and finally they can find a fixed solution to the problem. Unless and otherwise, if we are giving a chance to the student, they are unable to get into the problem, right? So I think obviously the option 2 is the right answer for this. Yeah, let's get into the definition. What is this problem solving actually? So it is a mental process involving the ability to analyze and find the solution that best resolves the problem. So before fixing a solution to a problem, before identifying a particular solution to a problem, we need to have analyze, we need to analyze the problem, then only we can fix a feasible solution to the problem. So few can really understand the problem, the answer will come out of it, because the answer is not separate from the problem, because we need to fix the solution for the problem. But before fixing it, a student should be evaluating several alternatives. We need to help the student, we need to help the student, right? Because they might not know which solution might be an appropriate solution for the problem. So being a teacher, we should guide them, we should counsel them, we should facilitate them with the available alternatives so that they can fix a feasible solution to the problem, right? So there is a definition, and this there are certain principles for teaching problem solving skills to the students. And here comes the first principle, that is model a useful problem solving method, right? So if you carefully identify the image, there we have start, it is beginning, and finish, it's an end, right? So model a useful problem solving method. So problem solving can be difficult, right? And sometimes tedious, busy, right? So you should show your students, right, by your example, how to be patient and persistent, and how to follow a structured method. So it will be starting, and then it will be finishing. But once you start analyzing it, you need to define the problem first of all. Previously also, one more sub participant have responded that define the problem. Yes, define and understand, and then analyze. Obviously you get a proposed solution to the problem. So there is a method that you need to follow, right? So that is defining the problem, brainstorm solutions, right? Brainstorm solutions, because your opinion is different from other, the student opinion is different from teacher, and the student opinion is different from other students. So brainstorming of solutions, right? And pick a solution, implement that solution, and review the results. Why we are reviewing the results? Because to evaluate the performance of the solution to the problem, right? If once we have reviewed the results and the solution is not appropriate to the problem, then we can again start with the first option, that is defining the problem, brainstorming the solutions, pick a solution, because it is a cyclic approach, it is never ending, and it is a continuous cycle where we need to fix a problem. But before fixing a problem, we need to follow certain phases of a cycle, that is defining the problem, brainstorm solutions, pick a solution, implement the solution, and review the results. Finally, it is finished. If the solution is fixed and feasible, we can finish it off, and we can come to a concise that those is a particular solution to the problem, right? So there is a first principle for problem solving skills, and the second one is teach within a specific context. So what is this specific context? So you need to use some, real life problems in explanations, scenarios. And you see, being a management teacher, we used to give some sort of case studies to our students, right, in the classes. Despite of teaching, we will be giving them the cases and make them analyze the cases, okay, so that they can come forward with some proposed solution to the cases. Okay, so this is what you need to give some examples, explanations to the real-time cases. So do not teach problem solving as an independent or an abstract skill. You have to teach within a specific context, right? So that is the second principle. And next thing is help students understand the problem. So how do we help students understand the problem, right? So here, in order to solve problems, students need to, define the end goal, right? And this step is crucial to successful learning of problem solving skills. So you have to help the students. It is our responsibility. If you succeed helping the students answering the questions what and why, finding the answer to how will be easier, right? That means they need to understand what and why this problem has occurred and what might be the solution to the problem, so that finally the student will get off it, right? So they can find the answer to how will be easier, how the solution can be fixed to this kind of a problem. It's quite easy and normal for the student if you help them and guide them in an appropriate manner, right? So that is the third principle. And the fourth one is take enough time, right? So when planning a lecture or tutorial, budget enough time for understanding the problem and defining the goal. See, you should not be in a hurry burry, and before you understand the problem, the student might not, right? So make sure that you are very much crystal clear about the problem, so that you can share and distribute the particular scenario to the student also. Then you can analyze the level of how the student is being understood, right? So take enough time. So dealing with questions from you and your students, making, finding and fixing mistakes, and solving entire problems in a single session, right? So single session. So see, it's not like you are simply dragging or eliciting some fact or a solution from a single student, right? So you have to elicit the facts and opinions from quite number of students. How it is possible within an enough time, within a single session, right? So it's up to you. You need to take enough time, and you have to plan the schedule around, that might be around 40 minutes or 1 hour, and make sure that a proposed solution to the problem has been fixed, right? Next, ask questions and make suggestions. Okay, you need to ask the questions because you need to keep the students engaged all the time. Okay, once if they have been distracted, right? Second. Yeah, sorry. See, once if they have been distracted, what will happen? They might disturb the other rest of the students in the class. So always keep them engaged, right? Participative learning is very important. So ask the students and make suggestions. So ask students to predict what would happen if, or explain what something happened, right? So this will help them to develop analytical and deductive thinking skills, right? So also ask questions and make suggestions about strategies to encourage students to reflect on the problem solving strategies that they use, right? So that they can keep we can keep engaged continuously. And this is right, this is another principle, last but not the least, that is link errors to misconceptions, right? So how do we link errors to misconceptions, right? Use errors as evidence, because see, whatever the solution that we propose might not be the final thing, might not be the right one, might not be an appropriate solution to the problem. So we might be see, it's quite normal, right? Fixing the errors, right? Use errors as evidence of misconceptions. So once we have committed error, so that particular error will not be repeated in the future, being a teacher or while you are distributing the same thing to the student also, right? So make an effort, right, to isolate the misconception and correct it. Then teach students to do this by themselves, right? So we can all learn from mistakes, right? Because unless and until we commit mistake, we might not be a good human being, right? So because we learn from the mistakes, right? So that is link us to misconception. So these are all the principles of how do we teach the problem solving skills to the students, right? See, I think in the middle of the presentation, I need to pose another question for you. That is, what is the learning disability? Being a teacher, which one we finalize as a solution for this question? I need answers from you. What is a learning disability? The problem learning to read, a struggle with problem solving, a low intelligence quotient, a disparity between intelligence and learning. What might be your answer? What do you think will be a learning disability for a student? Don't know the reason. Don't know the reason because, see, we have to analyze the mindset of a student, right? Being a teacher, that is the first and the foremost quality. Yeah, Devara physics. He has been responded that option 3, that is C. From the student perspective, which one do we choose? Might be a solution for the problem. What is a learning disability of a student? A problem learning to read? Can't we facilitate a student to read with our guidance? A low intelligence quotient? Yes, we can, right? A low intelligence, a struggle with problem solving. If the student is not keeping his brain, keeping his effort full-fledgedly, then I think that might be a learning disability. And a low intelligence quotient, a low IQ student will be separated from a high IQ student. And what are the guidance or remedial classes, extra hours that we take for the students, it depends upon. And a disparity between intelligence and learning, right? So disparity, there is a difference between intelligence and learning. So I don't think so that is a learning disability. Okay, even though there is the student which is having low intelligence also can put their effort in learning if they are interested in. So that might not be a disability. So any other answers from you participants? Okay. So see, what is the learning disability? The answer for this is a struggle with problem solving. Okay, that might be a learning disability, right? Because a student should involve in a particular scenario. A student should involve in a particular problem. If once he involved, then obviously he can able to understand what is the level of the problem. Then he can able to analyze, right? And finally he can draw the conclusions for that specific problem. So this is a learning disability. Okay, there should, we make the student able to learn. We, it is our responsibility being a teacher, we should make the student able to learn. If we make them able to learn, that disability can be overcome. Okay, so we are making the student able to learn, and the student is putting his utmost effort and ability in learning the problem and understanding the problem, and finally drawing the conclusions and solutions out of the problem, right? So option 2 is the right one, of course, right? So see, this is what is the learning disability, right? Okay, so there are some tips and techniques for a teacher in development of problem solving skills, right? We also discussed the principles, and these are certain tips and techniques, right? What are the tips that we follow generally? Because we are going to deal with the quite variated students, quite different students, right? So the teacher should put himself in the student's place. That is called as empathy, right? So he should see the student's case. He should try to understand what is going on in the student's mind. Is he interested? No. If yes, to what level? Right? And ask a question or indicate a step that could have occurred to the student himself. Right? It is a George Polya has been given this wonderful definition for a teachers like us. Right? So see, this is the first and the foremost step and technique for a student in order to imbibe these problem solving skills. Right? So these have students identify specific problems, difficulties, and confusions. Don't waste time walking through problems that students already understand. See, the student have already understood, but we are simply wasting time on explaining and elaborating the same concept. Right? It is a waste of time. So communicate to what level the student require. And if students are unable to articulate their concerns, determine where they are having trouble by asking them identify the specific concepts or principles associated with the problem. So you have to give an opportunity to the student, right? Make them articulate their problems, right? So make student articulate their problem solving process. See, for example, in a one-to-one tutoring session, ask the student to work on his problem out loud, right? So this slows down the thinking process, make it more accurate and allowing you to access understanding. So you can able to understand to what extent the student can catch out that problem, right? So when working with larger groups, you can ask students to provide a written two-column solution, right? Because once the student pens it down, the greater ideas will come out of that writing, right? So have students write up their solution to a problem by putting all their calculations in one column and reasoning in another column, right? So this helps them to think critically about their own problem solving and helps you to you also to more easily identify where they may have be having such kind of problems, right? Because it is right, it is not like it is a individual problem of a student, it's the problem of the combination both yourself as well as the student. So there should be some sort of collaboration with you and the student, right? So communication is very important. And next thing is encourage independence. Okay, so this is the second tip and technique. You have to encourage independence of a student, right? So you have to model the problem solving process rather than just giving students the answer. See, if you are giving a problem, and if you are giving a problem in the class itself and you are solving the problem simultaneously, so that might not be a solution for the problem. What you need to do, you have to encourage independence. You have to drag the solutions from the problem, have students work through problems on their own, ask directing questions or give helpful suggestions, but provide only minimal assistance, right? You should not be curious and anxious towards providing solution to the problem, right? So minimal assistance so that the student if you're giving some sort of a clue, so that they can catch that clue and they can try to solve the problem of their own. So group work should be assigned to the students, that's very important, right? So you can form the students into groups, ask them to come out with the number of solutions, right? So all those things, group work is very important because they can frequently help each other, and talking about a problem helps them think more critically about the steps needed to solve the problem, right? So group work helps students realize that problem often have multiple solution strategies, some that might be more effective than others, right? That is how they can come out of the that's how the solutions will be dragged out of the group work. So you need to encourage independence of a student in groups. And the next tip is be sensitive, right? Be sensitive. Frequently, when working problems, students are unsure of themselves, right? See, they might be thinking like, okay, if I provide this solution to the problem, what might be my teacher will think, right? So this kind of, stage fear, or this kind of hesitating will be incurred in a student. So when working on problems, make sure that this lack of confidence may hamper their learning. Okay, they should overcome this kind of you know fear. So it is important to recognize this when students come to us for help, and to give each student some feeling of mastery guidance. So do this by providing positive reinforcement, right, to let students know when they have mastered a new concept or skill, right? If you don't encourage at this level, the student will remain sensitive only, and they will not come to you for help, or they will not propose the solution also to the problem in the class. So you should be sensitive. Being a teacher, you need to be very sensitive towards the student. And the next tip is encourage thoroughness and patience. Okay, patience. Being a teacher, patience is very important for all of us. We need to try to communicate that the process is more important than the answer. Process is more important. See, even in MCQs, if we provide a solution, luckily, if you don't know the exact stepwise solution, and you are providing a one step solution to the problem, luckily if it is right, that does not make sense, right? So try to communicate that the process is more important than the answer, so that the student learns that it is okay to not have an instant solution. Okay, so in the class also, first come first serve basis. Like if you are providing a solution, okay, my teacher has patted me on my back, and he has appreciated me, that's not an answer, right? So if you communicate that how the process is very important, right? So this is learned through your acceptance of his or her pace of doing things, right? Through your refusal to let anxiety pressure you into giving the right answer, and through your example of problem solving through a step by step process. Okay, no matter whether the solution is correct or not, but the process of learning should be a basic, and it should be a foundation for providing the solution to the problem. That is why you need to encourage, right, thoroughness and patience in each and every student. So that is a wonderful tip for a teacher. And here comes the next thing, that is brainstorming. As we have already discussed this, brainstorm is nothing but invite students to be fluent thinkers. It should be very open, right? There is no such kind of embarrassing moments or hesitating situations. So you invite students to be fluent thinkers by asking them to respond to questions that have many right answers. All the students might be right in their own perspectives, but whenever they're coming out of this brainstorming sessions only, the solutions will be encouraged, right? So incorporate these questions into the interests they are involved with, and the situations they are in, right? Because it reflects, right? So it helps students to be flexible thinkers by asking them to comment on specific objects or situations in your room, right? So out of brainstorming sessions, many facts, many opinions will be elicited out of the session. Okay, so you have to identify how the brains, the sharpness of the students. Okay, so whichever student is dull, how the dull student can able to learn from a sharp student. Okay, once in a while, because several sessions will be conducted in this brainstorming sessions, and once in a while, why not the dull student might be transformed into a bright student? Yes or no? Well, is it going to happen, or the dull student will remain dull only in the brainstorming sessions? What might happen? Yes, it is possible, right? Okay, because we are continuously conducting the sessions. Okay, every time the same student is reacting and responding, the other student might uh, awaiting for the chance, due to some innocence or sensitiveness or due to some stage fear, he's not coming forward. But uh, these many sessions, because of these multiple sessions, any one session might strongly influence the dull student, so that the dull student can transform into a bright student, right? So all these things happen. So it is all the problem solving skills that we need to imbibe as a teacher for the student, right? And the next step is provide plenty of time every day for students. Okay, to choose activities based on their interests and developmental levels. So if you carefully observe the image, so how they are involving in the activities in an active manner. Okay, so how they are experimenting, how they are conducting their sessions, they're learning something in a very the image clearly indicate a quiet learning environment, right? Even though we go, I mean, student might refer the textbooks, refer the learning materials, and attempting and appearing for the examinations, that is all the secondary thing. But the primary thing is learning from the environment, that is very important. Okay, so you need to provide plenty of time for student activities. Okay, so that they can have their self-effication and development. So free play situations that might create endless opportunities for children to identify and solve their problems, right? And follow students leads, that is another tip. Follow students leads. By observing children's interactions and dilemmas, you can support their problem solving efforts and help them accomplish their goals. Okay, so you might come to a concise decision, like what exactly the student wants to deliver, what exactly the student wants to put off, right? So all those things you need to observe, right? And reinforce student solutions. So give a high five for the student, because you are simply reinforcing the student solutions. If it is right, why don't you appreciate? If it is wrong, why don't you explain them, right? So reinforcing the student solutions. So let children know that their ideas and efforts are always valued. Okay, so that they might be having some sort of, self appreciation. So my teacher has appreciated me, patted me on my back, so that why don't I might develop myself, right? So my teacher has suggested me that this is not a solution for the problem, you can work it on later, so that you can come with a proper solution. So all those things are an encouraging moments that we are giving to your student, right? So reinforcing is very important. That is also a tip and a technique for a teacher. And next thing is extend creative thinking and problem solving. Creative thinking to be extended. Okay, see, okay, if you have done any mistake in the class, if the student has identified that so and so is wrong, ma'am, like that, so what you will do? Being a teacher, the student identified your mistake, what you will do? Will you accept your mistake, or you will blame the student? Quite often we might face such kind of situations being a teacher, right? What you will do? Very good. Like me, Devara physics is, I think, is very active. I will frankly admit, sir, even me too also, I'll be also frankly admitting it, because it is a sort of encouragement that we are giving to the student in front of the class, so that the remaining students also will learn how to correct the solution for a problem. Yeah. So we have to admit it, being a teacher. Okay, otherwise if you are blaming the student, and if we are uh, uh, not accepting our mistake, what will happen? The student also will learn the same thing, The student also will commit the mistake, commit the error, and he will say he is right. So being a teacher, we should not encourage such kind of things. So extend creative thinking and problem solving. Ask open-ended questions about activities to help students see the problem they are trying to solve in new and different ways. Different ways. Right. So next, step back and watch students' independent problem solving. Make sure that you're not watching them, but you have to watch them, right? So step back and watch students independent problem solving. So how he is what is their capacity, understanding capacity, and what is their learning ability. So sometimes it may seem easier and faster to jump in and solve a problem for children, or to show them the right way. Okay, sometimes sometimes I might be being a teacher, I might be impatient sometimes, because even I don't know, like I'll be providing a solution to the problem in a quick and a hurry manner, because I have to go for the next class, I have to run off. So there is no such deliberate thing for extending my time all the time. So you have to sort out those kind of issues, but stepping in too early can stifle their thinking or send a subtle message that you're not confident they can think problems through by themselves. Okay, give them time. Okay, give them time. That is an analyzing time for a student. Instead of intervening right way, step back and watch children's problem solving skills unfold, right? So that they can able to analyze the scenarios, because everything is contemporary nowadays, isn't it? So whatever the situations that is happening, whatever the contemporary practices that we follow, so you need to analyze all the situations, because they are unexpected, and we doesn't know that what kind of situation may prevail with respect to a firm, or with respect to an industry, or with respect to the market, right? Everything is fluctuating, everything is dynamic. So you have to give a chance for a student to analyze all such things, what's happening with the particular thing. If you have given some case study to a student, okay, so make them understand the complete case, right? What is the actual problem? So the student has to think, right? So if I am the manager of this particular company, what is my proposed solution for that particular problem that has been arised in the department, right? If I might be a personal manager, if I might be a CEO of the company, if I might be a marketing or a telecommunications manager, right? So what if I might be a director of the company? So the student should think in that I perspective, and he should analyze the problem and propose a solution, right? So you need to give them such kind of a chance, right? So you have to facilitate them and give them a chance so that they can utilize well, right? And next one, focus on the process students are engaged in, right? So focus on the process, in what process the students are engaged in. Okay, try to be patient while you encourage students to try new ways and look at problems from new perspectives. See, being a teacher, our mindset is different from student. Even sometimes the student will think sharp compared to us, right? But what's happening exactly, how they are focusing on the process they are engaged in, right? So you have to be very patient and identify exactly how they are focusing on, right? Next, acknowledge students efforts, letting them know that what they are doing is important, right? So offer verbal support, offer verbal support. So look at all the different ways you are trying to make that piece fit in your puzzle. You are working hard to figure it out, aren't you? At times, nonverbal support may be all that's needed. A smile, an understanding nod, like if you nod your head like this or like this kind of gestures might capture the student's attention, right? Or thumbs up can show support and encourage them to continue in their thinking process. Okay, if you are roaming in the lines of the students, right? If you have segregated into 4 to 5 groups your class, and if you are roaming around themselves, and you have stopped at the first group, you have encouraged them, and then go to the second group, right? Like that, if you observe them in an encouraging mode, obviously they can make them more involved in the process, right? So remember too, that just by sitting quietly next to a student does not make sense, right? I understand what you're doing, I know it's important. So these are some kind of statements that will encourage the student in solving the problems. I repeat, I understand what you're doing, I know it's important, like that. Okay, so that is the common statements that we use. Okay, because these are the common statements. Despite of this, these are very encouraging statements for the students, right? And see, create this is also another important tip and technique. Create accepting environments where students feel free to express their ideas without fear of being wrong. If you observe the image, see the student perception, how the student is thinking, that the student is not thinking whether my answer is right or wrong. I have simply raised my hand. The master should understood whether my opinion is going to be right or wrong. Okay, that means whose responsibility is that? The students have raised their hands. Okay, so now it is the responsibility of whom to make that environment very conducive. That is an environment where the students are very much participative and interested. Now it is a responsibility of whom to make the environment like that continuously. Teacher, yeah, good sir. Even I am encouraging with your answers for today's session. They were of physics, I think. Yeah, so it is the responsibility of a teacher, obviously, right? Because we are creating some accepting environments, right? So this environment where student can be able to feel free and express their ideas without fear of being wrong. Okay, make sure your setting, that learning environment setting, is a protective one, where students know they can experiment and practice problem solving skills throughout each day. Okay, even they themselves doesn't know that they are running out of time, because they are going to involve in such a particular uh, edutainment environment, edutainment where education plus entertainment takes place. We used to call it as an edutainment, right? So this kind of a enjoyable learning environment will provide them that particular edutainment. So it is the responsibility of a teacher ultimately, right? And give students opportunities for open ended play activities in long periods of time. See, despite of delivering the lecture content or some teaching methodologies, we might be giving some sort of exercises and activities also for the students in the class. Especially being a management teacher, what I used to do is I'll be providing some sort of management activities like just a minute programs, group discussions, you know case discussions, right? Market makers, business plans, these are all several management activities where I can encourage my students to actively engage with. So give students some sort of opportunities, so that daily, instead of following some sort of teaching instruction or coaching methodology, if you make them involve in some kind of activities, so that they are going to be very much encouraged to come to the classes regularly, right? So create opportunities for students to initiate and solve their own problems, right? And plenty of time. to test out possible ideas and solutions, because whatever the ideas and solutions that the student is coming out of, that might be quite flexible and feasible, right? So that is why it is our responsibility to give the student the opportunities for open-ended play activities, so you can quite conduct a good number of personality development exercises or management activities. Okay, all those things make sense, so that the students can grab those kind of opportunities, and they can transform that particular good level of entertainment in their studies also, right? Next, so this is last but not the least tip and technique, that is provide a variety of problem solving experiences, right? So what are the problem solving experiences you are going to provide for the student, right? So see here, we can offer games, right? As I already told you, management games, so that they can actively participate and they will show some sort of interest towards studies also. Offer games, puzzles, like riddles. We can have subject oriented riddles and puzzles. We can play it through videos or through ppts or through some kind of links in the classrooms, right? So puzzles or riddles, we can give it, for example, if you're teaching some financial management subject or operations management subject, so related to your subject, you can play all the puzzles and riddles, right? Like crossword puzzles, for example. You are dealing one subject, let us think that is a management uh, process subject. Okay, you can give a puzzle, crossword puzzle, so that the student can able to solve that puzzle. They will come forward with some ideas at the back end, where they are going to store at their back. So what kind of management terminology that we can use, and we can fill those puzzles across and straight, right? So this is how they can able to analyze the skills that has been hidden at the back of their minds. They can put forward and pens it down in the classrooms, right? So offer games, puzzles, discussions also. Out of group discussions, they can elicit several facts and opinions. Literature, that is a kind of a survey. And projects, right? Mini projects or major projects, whichever we can assign them, like seminar discussions, seminar topics. You can give individual seminar topic from the subject within the syllabus to the student. For example, if you are giving some one topic from a syllabus to the student, so make sure get the information related to the topic in a contemporary manner. For example, you are giving some you know teamwork, right? So ask them to come out with some illustrative examples, illustrations, right? So what is the teamwork, how the present modern organizations are following this teamwork, how the teamwork is going to play a major role in the current scenario, like that. Make sure that a particular project should be very live and contemporary, okay? Because if it is contemporary and live, then only we can come to a conclusion that the student has been worked on it well. Otherwise, he can download the content from the google, and he can make a print and give it to you. But you should not encourage like that. So give a seminar topic or assign a seminar topic to the student in a mini project manner, so that they can come forward with the live projects, right? A wide range of activities that inspire creative and critical thinking, right? And encourage them to stretch their minds, elaborate, and elucidate quite a good an n number of concepts, right? So this is how you need to provide a variety of problem solving experiences, right? And here comes the conclusion. Finally, being a teacher, what we need to do is you need to develop better problem solvers, right? Because teacher should not be a problem solver all the time, right? So you need to imbibe some sort of logical and analytical skills into the minds of students, so that the student also can initiate their problem with their solutions. So the teacher must help students overcome both emotional and cognitive barriers to learning effective problem solving skills, right? By first creating a comfortable classroom environment and helping students overcome their fears and anxieties related to problem solving, teachers lay the necessary foundation for successful learning. It's up to us. It's our, you know, eventually it's our ultimate responsibility. Then, using an array of pedagogical, methodological strategies, a teacher can promote student reflection on the problem solving process itself, right? And provide them critical tools for practice in productive problem solving. Productive problem solving. It's not like why I'm saying a productive problem solving is you should not encourage each and every solution from a student. Sometimes you should take it as on a serious note that they have to you know they have to be compatible with the case study whatever you have assigned to them. They should not go beyond the boundaries. They should be within the case itself and analyze within the boundaries so that they can sort out a problem and come out with a solution. If they are distracting from the boundaries, what will happen if the student distract from the boundaries, from the case study what you have assigned to them? Then what's going to happen in the class? Can we get a solution for the problem within the case? Okay, so we can't find any kind of a solution within the case, right? So when the student is being distracting from the class, when the student is being distracting from the case, what will happen means it is being a waste of time. So make sure that you are making them engaging with respect to the case study itself. Okay, so as a result students will become increasingly effective problem solvers. They can able to solve more and more complex problems, with greater and greater independence, right? So problem solving skills will help students learn in uh, n number of ways that enable them to use what they have learned to solve problems in new situations, because every time the student is not going to analyze in the same model. Okay, depending upon the case, depending upon the situation, depending upon the individual, the solutions will be coming out from each and every student, right? So it is our responsibility that every student is being engaged with the case study or with the problem, so that they can define and understand the problem, and finally they can elicit the facts, and they can propose the solutions to the problem. So what you will do finally, you are observing the student, right? You are making them understand the problem, you are making them analyze the problem, everything is fine. So finally what you are going to do, the solutions you have elicited several solutions from the students. How do you wind up that particular case? Being a teacher, how are we going to wind up the case? Are you going to accept each and every solution that we have from the student, or what we'll do? Because there might be only one solution for a problem, right? And we are getting n number of solutions from the students. Which solution we are going to fix for a problem? Being a teacher, you should satisfy all the students. So it's a big question mark for a teacher. You have to wind up the case. Okay, again, there are physics. Briefly discussing merits and demerits. Okay, sir. Well and good. Any other answers from the participants? All right. Okay. So we have to conclude at any cost, right? So Devara sir has responded that briefly discussing merits and demerits. Yes, we'll be discussing the merits and demerits, the pros and cons with respect to the case study. And along with that, what we are going to do is we have to simply propose a solution to the problem. So since it is a kind of a management game or a group discussion, okay, value the group. Okay, so whichever group has come forward with a proposed, with a feasible solution to a problem, encourage that group and give some marks to that particular group. Okay, so if we value that group, obviously the other groups also will get encouraged for the next time, so that they will come forward with some, you know, good solutions for the next time if you made them play the game, right? So in that particular class of some 45 minutes to 1 hour, what's exactly happening is you are giving a case to the students in groups and ask them to solve that case or solve the problem. Okay, the students are coming forward with some solutions, facts and opinions. Okay, so one among the group is going to represent, right, and they are going to keep the class engaged. So finally what's happening, the teacher is going to drag the solution, final solution, from among the groups, and that solution is going to be fixed for a particular problem. And the teacher is being evaluating the class, particularly the groups, and whatever the group, sorry, whichever group is giving a right solution or an optimal and feasible solution to the problem, that group is being giving high marks compared to the other. Okay, so what is happening in this process, the other groups also are going to develop their analytical skills, and they are also being encouraged for the next time. So this is how we can close a particular session, right? So finally what I mean to say is being a teacher, being a good problem solver for a student, you have to give a problem to the student, a scenario or a case study to a student. Okay, help them to define and understand the problem. Okay, and give some sort of, you know, clues and facilitate them in their moves, so that they can come forward with their solutions and finally evaluate the problem with the final solution, right? So this is how the problem solving skills has to be imbibed for the students, right? So I think I'm done with this, right? Any other queries from the participants?
The
You are
session is
mostly
open
welcome.
for discussion now. You can post your questions in the chat box, or you can unmute and directly interact with the resource person. Thank you. You can post your questions in chat box also.
Hello, madam.
Sir, hello sir, please.
Namaste.
Namaste, sir.
So just I want to know from you that how to, come up with a good answer to this question that some of the, commentators have been coming up with. The question is that this type of Niyata Vidya, that is the structured education, has been killing the creativity and thinking capacity of the students. And I'm unable to just, at least mentally make up my mind how to answer that question whenever it arises from somebody. Could you please tell me, is it happening really, or is it the perception of some of the commentators?
Sir, that's a very good question, sir. Actually, as far as my knowledge is concerned, I would like to say one thing. Actually, what we are doing is simply we are structuring our syllabus or course, whatever it is, with respect to the curriculum, right? And we are teaching the subjects, and we are not going beyond the subjects. And we are sometimes we are giving some subject knowledge to the student, and we are also, providing exams, right? In terms of syllabus itself, we are not going out of syllabus also. The student mindset, how the student mindset is going to be restricted with respect to the syllabus and the content whatever the teacher has been delivered in the class, that's itself. So the student is not going to have an exposure towards what is happening in the outside world, what is an industry, what is a firm. Unfortunately, some of the students might not know this kind of terminologies, what they are exactly happening in the outside environment. So being a teacher, what we need to do is, despite of deliberating the content with respect to the syllabus, we have to provide them some sort of real time cases, live cases to the students. Okay. And you need to what you need to do is you have to facilitate them by telling that if you are a manager to a particular company, what might be your solution. Ask them to read newspapers, ask them to analyze quite number of problems that are happening in the outside world. Okay. This is your company, right? So how we are going to, as a teacher, how I am going to present is, I'll be picking one student. This is your company, and this is the particular case or a paper that I am giving to you, right? So study your case, and you should not wind up your company or make your company run in losses all the time. So you have to increase the perpetuate growth of your company. What you are going to do, then the student will feel that empathy, right? And he will think, being a manager or being a CEO of the company or director of the company, this kind of a problem has been arised, right? And he can refer to any other cases also, previous cases also. Okay, they have suggested some solutions in the previous case studies. He can compare, okay, whichever solution might be a profounded one, so that I can implement in my company. Like that, he should feel, he should take the case in person, so that he can propose a, flexible solution to the problem, so that kind of solution might not repeat again for his company in the future. Like that, he should involve, sir, he should involve in a case study, right? So if he involves in a case study or a scenario, so that he can come out with a appropriate solution. Otherwise, for my sake, if the student is providing a solution for your sake or my sake, that solution might not be a solution for a problem 100%, right? So student should involve and engage with the case, try to define, understand, and analyze. Finally, he can come out with a, feasible one. That's what, sir. I think your
Any
question
more
has been
questions?
resolved.
Any more questions? Any more questions? Ma'am, shall we wind up, ma'am? I think there are no more questions.
Yeah, ma'am, sure. Thank you so much, IoT Academy organizers, for giving me this opportunity. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. On behalf of IoT Academy, I thank Dr. Swati, ma'am, for the interactive, informative, and enlightening session. And thanks for the amazing presentation, ma'am. It will be very beneficial. And your tips and techniques on the problem solving skills and creative thinking for students will be very beneficial. Thank you very much, ma'am. I thank all the participants for joining the session. Kindly fill the feedback form using the link that has been posted in the chat box. Thank you all. Thank you very much, ma'am.
Shall I leave, ma'am?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, all the participants. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.